Hi there, business owner. Are you looking to improve your business knowledge? Do you want to see behind the scenes of successful businesses? And more importantly, are you looking to build a better business in just 15 minutes each week? If so, you're in the right place. Welcome to the 3Bs podcast. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the 3Bs podcast. As always, I'm your host Stephanie, and thank you for being here and listening to this week's episode. As you may have seen, this is my 10 steps to a painless and timely month end. And yes, we're going to cover them all in just 15 minutes. I think month end is a time when a lot of business owners start to stress out because they know they've got the additional tasks to the normal day-to-day running of their business. Financial month ends are incredibly important because the quicker you get your accurate data, the better business you can build, the more informed decisions that you can make. So this week, I wanted to share with the 10-step process that we use, both in the practice and across my businesses and across the clients that I work with. So it's easy, quick, painless, and stress-free, and it makes life so much easier if you're looking to build a better business. On with the episode. This is going to be a whistle-stop tour through these 10 steps to fit them all in this 15-minute episode. If you do want any more information about a specific step, if you have any questions or would like our cheat sheet, then just get in touch with us via our email. I'll pop the information in the show notes and we'll send over our process in a PDF format so that you can review it at the end of each month. Use it like a checklist. Step 1 is to go through all your bank and credit card statements and source receipts or invoices where necessary. So a top tip to speed this up is to use bank feeds on your software such as Xero or QuickBooks, because that will draw down your transactions every night, overnight, to make it a much more regular occurrence so you can see what is outstanding. If you're using your bank feeds, it becomes a simple process of downloading your bank and credit card statements for that month and ensuring that they still match what your accounting software shows. You also then need to source your receipts or invoices. We use tools such as Dext, which is a receipt capture software. So you can take photographs of your receipts on the road, on the go, and you can also forward your digital receipts by a unique email address that puts them all straight into the software, which then can be processed and put into your accounting software. Step 2 is to ensure that all transactions are recorded and categorized correctly. It's really important that when you categorize your transactions, that your fuel goes in the fuel nominal and your assets are kept separate from your expenses, and that you consistently record the same expense the same way. We often find when we're looking at clients' work, when they do their bookkeeping themselves, that they will put fuel under a fuel nominal 1 week and then through a motor vehicle expenses nominal the next week, which really throws out the reports. And when you're analysing your financial position, it needs to be kept the same and consistent throughout. Step 3 is to send out any pending sales invoices. Again, a top tip here is if you are sending out invoices on a regular basis, softwares like Xero or QuickBooks have a repeating invoices function. So you can set up that repeating invoice throughout every single month if you work on maybe a retainer basis, and then top up additional work with extra invoices, because that takes away the time you need to send those invoices out and makes this month-end process so much smoother and quicker and easier. Step 4 is to follow up on any overdue payments to keep your cash flow nice and healthy. This is what I call credit control and can be done in 2 ways, because there is nothing worse than waiting for an invoice to be paid from a customer. So you can either employ someone to do your credit control for you, or set that regular time in your diary to do the credit control, which can be emails or phone calls to ask for payment and chase when that payment is going to be made for the overdue invoices. Or you can set up repeating direct debits. You can use things like Go Cardless for variable direct debits, which works really well for us. So our invoices go out and any invoice sent onto that particular contact in Xero for us automatically gets taken on the due date of the invoice. So if there is any additional work or any additional invoices, they will automatically be taken on the due date the direct debit is set up for, which I think makes things quick and easy. It reduces time and a headache, and then all you have to do is double check that everything has come out and no direct debits have bounced for your invoices. Number 5 is to review and record all expenses, no matter how small they are. So this can be a number of different things. It could be mileage claims for staff or directors. It could be expense reimbursements. But it's important to review and record them all, even if it is something as simple as an 80p stamp from the post office. If it is a business expense, it needs to be included in the accounts to make sure that we have a true position of the finances of the business, which will unlock all the insights you need to make more informed decisions and to build a better business. There's also tools like, again, Xero has an expenses function, so you can have expenses put through there that the employees can put into the system, and then you can approve or deny them. There's also cards. So I know there's like Spendesk you can use, which will give your employees or your directors specific expense cards, which can be topped up like a prepaid debit card. And you can then give them those to use for expenses, and they can take a picture straight into the app of that expense receipt. So it's easy for you to do at the end of the month. 6 is to review expenses to identify any unnecessary spending. So while you're reviewing and recording all of those expenses, it's important to review expenses incurred in each area of your business. If you have put a budget in for specific areas, so maybe you've got like a fuel budget, or you've got a cost of sales budget, like you don't want to spend more than a certain amount on insurance or parking, if you've got staff members that travel a lot, maybe tradesmen, things like that, or maybe materials, you can review against your budget for that, and that will help you to stay on course for building a better business. Step 7 is to run payroll and post your payroll journal. So if you run a monthly payroll, that's going to be a monthly process. If you run a weekly or a bi-weekly payroll, it's going to be done more regularly. But for a monthly payroll, you need to run your payroll, ensure that all your annual leave, any statutory pay, everything is included in there. Make sure there's no changes to national insurance numbers or tax codes. Also, you need to review your auto-enrollment, so your pensions. Make sure that you are auto-enrolling the ones you need to, given the options available to the ones that don't, as well as keeping up with your company obligations. And then post your payroll journal into your accounting software that will help put all the correct figures into the right places into your financial records. Now, if payroll is something that you don't fully understand or need more support with, you can outsource that specific part to a bookkeeper or an accountant, or you could outsource all of these month-end processes to a bookkeeper or accountant. It is something we do at ABCS UK, so do get in touch if it's something you want to explore, because it's something we can do for you if all of these steps feel like too much for you to do as a business owner each month end. Step 8 is to review your financial statement. So by financial statements, I mean your profit and loss account, your balance sheet, your debtors and creditors. So the people that owe you money are the debtors, and the people you owe money to are the creditors. So you can get an aged creditors and an aged debtors report. Each month, they're great to review and just check where you are with who owes what, where, and why. You can automate this. You know I love a tool. So there's a tool called Pulse, which I will link to in the show notes as well, which can automate these reports for you. So as long as you ensure that your bookkeeping is up to date in your accountancy software, you can link your accountancy software and your bank feeds to Pulse, and they will automatically send you management account reports on the 7th of each month. So on the 7th of June, you would receive reports for the end of May to give you a real overview, and a lot of my clients use them to analyze their spending in various areas. It would tick off quite a few of the points of this process just from that one report. Step 9 of this process is to save for tax. Now I can hear the collective groan now, but paying tax is a privilege. It means your business is making money, and that's why we are all in business. What I advise is to set aside a percentage automatically or move to a different account each month, because out of sight, out of mind. I've recently read the book Profit First, and I do really like the idea of putting things away in an account you can't see. And the out of sight, out of mind, putting money aside for tax gives you what's left in the pot to play with, rather than looking at your bank balance as a whole and thinking you have all of that money to use on the business day-to-day expenses or to invest or whatever it is you want to do to build the business. Save for tax. Set aside a percentage. Speak to your accountant, or if you don't already have one, get in contact with us and we will work out what the best percentage is for you. I do recommend that's reviewed quarterly as a minimum, because you'll have better months and you'll have worse months, and that's just how business works. So we like to work out a percentage average so that you're not putting away too much and you're not putting away too little either. And finally, step 10 is to review your targets and set goals for the next month. You will hear me talk over and over again. If you've been with the podcast a while, I talk about setting goals all the time because it's so important to know where you are heading. I think if you know where you're going, it makes life a lot easier, and to make more informed decisions. You can make more decisions and ask yourself the tough questions of, is this taking me close to my goal or not? Things like going out for a company dinner. I've done it myself with events. Like, there's a few events I should have been attending in the next few weeks that actually I'm now not going to, because as much as I love going to these networking events, they're not helping me towards my ultimate goal. And actually, they're just going to cause overwhelm and then backlog the work up in the office. So having those goals are really important. We have KPIs. So if you don't already have a KPI tracker, get one. KPIs are key performance indicators. I have talked about them on a previous episode. They are certain things that you can tangibly measure to make sure that your business is heading in the right direction. If you made targets and goals already, you can review your month's progress against where you thought you would be to see how close or far away you are from that goal, and see if that goal needs to be adjusted or amended. Remember that you can change your mind at any point in business, and that's okay. But having the data to look at and review will help you make those more informed decisions. Wow, that was a lot of information, but we managed to get through my 10 steps for a painless and timely financial month end. And I know that's a lot of information for you to take in one go, so do feel free to go back and pause sections and write it all down. If you're driving though, or walking the dog, please don't start writing. Pay attention to what you're doing and just listen to me and go back to me later. Alternatively, I can send you over a PDF copy of our process for you to keep and review. Use it like a checklist each month. I think that's really helpful. Just simply send us an email to hello@the3bs.com and I'll get that sent over to you. I'll also pop the email address into the show notes. It's worth noting that maybe not all 10 of these steps will be relevant to you and your business. For example, if you don't run a payroll, step 7 is not going to be relevant to you. Maybe you don't send sales invoices and you are a order business and you have products that you sell maybe on an online store or an e-commerce store, so that you won't be sending sales invoices like a mortgage advisor or a financial advisor would be sending out to their clients. So have a look at the procedure process in full, take out the bits that don't resonate to you, keep the bits that do. And I do know that number 10 is not relevant in the slightest, is meaningless if you don't have numbers 1 to 9, the ones that are relevant, in place first. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope it's been really useful for you. And thank you for listening in, and I'll see you all next week. And that brings us to the end of another episode of the 3Bs podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Please connect with us on social media. Like, rate and review wherever you are listening to this podcast so that I can help more business owners build a better business. See you next week.